Hey guys, welcome back to the channel this week. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Allie.
And we're AlliChuck Adventures. This week we're going to talk about some of our long travel days. We don't have a lot of them, but when we do have long travel days, what we do when we stop for an overnight and a free overnight.
And I'm usually our navigator and choose the spot that we're going to stay at for the evening.
We use the AllStays app, and I usually will tell her I'm getting tired, start looking.
Yep.
All right, we're going to just jump right into it this week. So this week we thought we would tackle the subject of our long travel days. As most of you know, we're just weekend warriors, but then Allie is a teacher, so she does get off like a week for Thanksgiving, she gets off a week for spring break, and then gets off a couple weeks for Christmas, as well as some summertime. So we have made some long trips, one being in 2019, we traveled all the way to Arizona and the Grand Canyon. And we made that trip out there in 3 days, and we overnighted every night at a Cracker Barrel. And it was awesome because the next morning we could get up, we would have breakfast. So we used RV Trip Wizard. It's a nice little RV trip planning app. Allowed us to basically map out that whole trip, knowing where we would stop to get gas, where we would stop for a break after 2 hours of driving. So I had it all mapped out. We knew exactly what Cracker Barrels we were going to stop at, and it was great. Now that was when we had our Jayco Whitehawk, which was 27 feet long, a little shorter than this one, and we never had any issues fitting into the spaces at Cracker Barrels. Now fast forward to us getting this Jayco Eagle HT. This is longer, and we have stayed at Cracker Barrel once. Luckily, it wasn't busy. When we got there, there was one other long RV, luckily, and he was just parked across the spaces, so we just pulled in beside him and parked across the spaces too. If we was to stay at a Cracker Barrel now, we wouldn't fit in the normal space. So that's why we've kind of switched our mode of overnighting for free to like Bass Pro Shops and Cabelas. It seems like it's much easier, you know, to find areas in those parking lots where they allow you to park that are large enough. So when we were coming home for spring break this time from Georgia, we had actually, going up, we actually made it in 1 day. It's a long day for us RVing from here to Allie's mom in Snellville, Georgia. It's usually 9 to 10 hours with some stops. But we did that going up, and then coming home, we were a little farther away from home on the trip back. As we said last week, we were just going to be a late checkout, basically checking out at the last possible minute, because we knew we were going to overnight on the way home, and we just wasn't sure where we were going to overnight on the way home. And that's where we use an app called AllStays, and I'm sure most of you have all heard of the AllStays app. And that's what we used. We just kind of drive until we got tired, and Allie pulls out the AllStays while I'm driving and starts looking for places that we could overnight, like Bass Pro Shops and Cabelas, possible Walmarts, things of those natures, Cracker Barrels. And we seen that there was a Bass Pro Shop in Gainesville, Florida. Now, Gainesville is only a couple more hours, roughly, to our home. But we were pretty tired at that point. We didn't feel like there was any reason to push it. So we pulled into this Bass Pro Shop in Gainesville, and it was quite awesome. This Bass Pro Shops here actually had a dog park, which was really cool. So we overnighted here at Bass Pro Shops in Gainesville, and right back here where you park, where they want you to park, there is a dog park. This is really nice for your little traveling pups. So if you ever need an overnight stay, the Bass Pro Shops in Gainesville, very dog friendly, not to mention they're RV friendly. We're gonna go check it out and just see what it is. Nikki might do some dog calisthenics here this morning. This is a very nice little dog park. And it's provided by Bass Pro Shops. How sweet is that? Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh, look at that, would you? Okay, come this way. Over here. Come back down. So Nikki really enjoyed the dog park. She really enjoyed playing around on the obstacle course things that they have out there. But more importantly, she likes smelling where other dogs have gone. And we had a great night's sleep there. It was very quiet. There was only one other RVer there when we were there. I was a little concerned because we typically will drive very late on our travel days, and we won't stop until at least 9, 10 o'clock at night. And a lot of times our fear is that if it is a free parking area like a Cracker Barrel or a Bass Pro Shops, that they might already be full. Not the case here. There was only, like I said, one other RVer, and as we were actually pulling in to get set up, security rode by on a golf cart, and they didn't say anything. They just waved at us. They just probably were wanting to see what we were doing. And it was really, like I said, kind of close to the interstate. Some of the reviews we'd read on it was that it was a little noisy, but it didn't bother us. I didn't notice it. So yeah, that's basically how we do it and how we overnight. We have actually overnighted in a Walmart. We've overnighted in Cracker Barrels. We've overnighted Bass Pro Shops and Cabelas, even rest areas. And I almost forgot, we've overnighted at a Boondocker's Welcome before, which I don't know if you technically call it a Boondocker's Welcome for us because they're friends of ours and we're not actually a part of the Boondocker's network, but they do have a Boondocker's Welcome site at their house, and we've stayed there. That's actually where we stayed on our way back from the Florida Keys when we were ran out last July because of a tropical storm. So one year we were heading from Allie's mom's in Snellville to Virginia, and we were going to go to Washington, D.C. in that, and we stopped and we overnighted in a rest area. It didn't say overnight parking wasn't allowed, so we stayed there. It was a little cold. I have to say, when we pulled into the rest stop, we went back in the RV, and as we were pouring some water for Nikki that we had in the fridge into her water bowl, it was turning to slush inside the RV. So it was colder inside the RV at that point when we stopped than it was inside the refrigerator. Well, we have stopped for the night somewhere near the Virginia, North Carolina state lines. Yeah, it's like 15 degrees outside and probably maybe 16 degrees inside the RV. So we've resorted to turning all the burners on along with the heat, trying to warm it up in here. It's so cold that our pillows are frozen, our memory foam pillows. Even our dog is cold. Nikki is curled up in a little ball.
And I'm under every blanket
that we have. My feet are like ice on the floor. It's so cold that I literally got a bottle of water out of the refrigerator to pour for Nikki to drink. It turned to ice immediately. So it's actually warmer in the refrigerator than it is inside the RV right now. Okay, that is all. Hopefully we don't freeze to death tonight. But we had propane and we ran it, and within a few minutes that's heated up the RV and it was fine, and we had a good night's sleep there. So we've done everything from Walmart to rest areas to Cracker Barrels to Bass Pro Shops to Cabelas. That's the ones we've done. So drop us a comment down below. How do you guys overnight when you're just going from point A to point B and you need a place to just park it and rest your head for the night? Do you like Cracker Barrels? Do you like the Bass Pro Shops, the Cabelas, the Walmarts? And what your preference is when you're on a long travel day and you need a place to just pull off and rest your head for a few hours before moving on to your destination.
So for those of you who've seen our video from a couple weeks ago when we first started our spring break trip up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and we overnighted at Allie's mom's house, and we were talking about driveway camping and the battery's not working.
We had no battery last night and no power in the RV.
So we slept in the RV last night without any heat. It was 35 degrees.
35 degrees in here this morning.
So I had my little blanket over my head the whole night.
I think it was a combination of two things. I think it was a combination that it was just so cold, because I did pull the cover off and I did check the fluid. The fluid was okay. One thing I did notice was my positive cable was a little loose. So I tightened that down, and when we overnighted on the way home and stayed at that Bass Pro Shops in Gainesville, we had no issues. Now, granted, we didn't have to run the heat that night, but we were able to run the slides out. We were able to use our lights, you know, and that was something we weren't able to even really do at our mom's house. Basically, I tried to run the slide out, and it just literally died after just a second. So I had to start the truck up in order to get enough juice just to run it out. So I think it was just a combination of the post being loose and maybe the batteries being really cold.
So we thank you guys for watching the video this week. We hope you found it useful, and we always appreciate you guys watching and hitting that like button and dropping us comments.
And we are approaching 6,000 subscribers.
And that's one question we wanted to pose to you guys. As we hit 6,000 subscribers, we thought about doing a live video maybe next week, and we wanted to know if you would be interested in seeing us go live.
And if you do, let us know what kind of questions that you would like for us to answer for you.
Yeah, drop those in the comment, or you can head over to AlliChuck Adventures on Facebook and message us some questions that way too. If we get enough people interested in us going live for next Wednesday night,
Then we'll do it.
we'll do it. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday,
We'll either see you live or...
pre-recorded from Payne's Prairie. All right, we'll see you guys next week one way or the other.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.